anger at Tory rebels' bid that could collapse government. The senior MP, who is leading a group of pro-European Tories pressing for a meaningful vote on the negotiations, vowed to back adding the demand to the Prime Minister's EU withdrawal bill when the legislation is expected to return to the Commons. Peers are due to vote tonight to support a rebel amendment tabled by Conservative Party ex-Minister Lord Hailsham pledging parliamentary votes on the outcome of government's talks with Brussels. Mr. Grieve said his group of pro-Brussels Tory MPs were expecting to support keeping the Lord's amendment when the measure goes back to the Commons in the ping-pong between the two houses. Admitting his rebellion may lead to the ousting of Mrs. May, he said, "We could collapse the government and I can assure you, I wake up at 2 a.m. in a cold sweat thinking about the problems we have put on our shoulders. The difficulty is the Brexit process is inherently risky, really risky to our economic well-being, to our international relationships and ultimately to our national security." Mr. Grieve claimed an alternative amendment tabled by ministers pledging a non-binding vote on the outcome of the negotiations was valueless. He attacked it because it allegedly bound MPs to support the government whatever the outcome of the talks with Brussels. The alternative to the rebel amendment was that we've all got to sign up to a slavery clause now saying whatever the government does, when it comes to January, however potentially catastrophic it might be for my constituents and my country, I'm signing in blood now that I will follow over the edge of a cliff. He added, that I am not prepared to do. Mr. Grieve also denied a vote in the Commons on his amendment could turn into an issue of confidence in the government. Some people keep on saying what we want at that point is a motion of no confidence. I have to say, I think they'll need a motion of no confidence then like a hole in the head. People need to keep calm, he said. Denying his aim was to stop the country's departure from the EU, he said, "Of course I think Brexit is a bad idea. That's why I voted Remain. But I'm also realistic, that it's almost certainly going to happen. It could only not happen if there was a major change in public opinion." Fellow pro-Brussels Tory MP Philip Lee, who quit as a justice minister last week in protest at Mrs. May's approach to Brexit, also signaled his intention to vote against the government in support of the Lord's amendment. "My intention is to support Dominic Grieve in the amendment he put before the House. Fundamentally I resigned to support Parliament getting a proper, truly meaningful vote," he said. Brexit backers savaged the threat from the rebels to vote against the government. Jacob Rees-Mogg, chairman of the Tory backbench European Research Group, said, "The only reason for opposing the government's compromise on a meaningful vote is an attempt to stop Brexit." Tory MP Priti Patel said, "They undermine Britain's negotiating position, they harm our national interests and fail the British people." Tory MEP David Campbell Bannerman said, "Grieve comes clean. He wants to collapse the government. Any rebel who backs Grieve must take the consequences of seeking to put Corbyn in charge." He suggested Tories who supported the rebellion should face deselection from being the party's candidates at the next election.